The Digital Culture Department is a very new thing. To my knowledge, it's the only Ministry of Culture of the world that has a department for digital culture that looks into technology as a tool for social and cultural transformation. We work in two main fronts. One is to discuss the issues that the convergence of technology brings to all walks of life in the theoretical frame and the regulatory frame as well, all over the world. We bring this to discussion. We have a minister that is a singer, a famous one, a singer that is successful, world known, and earns money with copyright, and he's saying that copyright is should be overcome, should be left behind, and doesn't fit the 21st century ways of doing things because of the possibilities of the digital technology. And the second aspect of what we do is to put into practice in the Pontos de Cultura, that are small NGOs in the peripheries of Brazil, not only urban peripheries but rural peripheries, in the jungle with the Indians, with in fishermen villages all over Brazil, that we discuss, not only discuss these issues, but put into practice the possibility of bringing them technologies from the 21st century directly to people that are still living in the 19th century realities. The results of this experiment, because it's an experimental project, is that we have found out that it's easier for people from the Brazilian peripheries that are still in the 19th century way of life to understand the 21st century, because they don't have to deconstruct the concept of the 20th century, which is based on copyright, based on ownership, and based on consumer society. So when people understand uploading before they understand downloading, when they understand copyleft and Creative Commons before they ever heard of copyright, they start having new ideas and new forms of doing things. They don't have to deconstruct the 20th century, which is based on employment and social security, because they are faced with their reality, which is no jobs and they never heard of social security either. This process that we are working on is the government learning how to work with civil society, and the civil society learning how to work with the government. It's an exchange of experiments of how these two normally totally separated bodies can work together. It's been hard, difficult. There are several problems, but we are advancing quite a lot. So we always say this is not the government, it's also the government. It's not civil society, but it's also civil society. We are proposing through government something very, very, very explosive and very, very, very revolutionary, which is the internet and the digital world as a world that is able to propose an anarchical point of view. Anarchical in the sense of having a world that is regulated by no central power, regulated by the nets, by connections, people that can get reorganized because they are connected. In already working with a lot of international groups, both from government and from civil society as well. And this has brought a lot of perspectives of the concept of this project being spread around and getting it together in local formats. It also happens in Brazil. Brazil are many countries built in one. So a digital hotspot, a cultural hotspot, Ponto de Cultura in the Amazon is totally different from a Ponto de Cultura in a shanty town in São Paulo. They have practically nothing in common except for the name and the connection that they receive to be able to talk to each other, which is the first time these people talk to each other. But I think this can also happen in many countries. We are proposing Brazil as a big laboratory of the 21st century, how to go about the issues that permeate the possibility of human life to exist in the next 100 years. And this discussion through the multimedia in free software, which is what we bring to the Pontos de Cultura, connection and multimedia, so they can exchange experiences not only in text but also in sound, images, graphic images, and development of software, can be the basis of reorganizing local realities. So we're looking to a world peer-to-peer that goes beyond the exchange of archives, where people can produce things, quality, and being able to be seen and have direct transactions with people in Vienna, in Croatia, wherever they are. They can see an Indian making basketries in the Amazon and buy directly from them, because what happens now between the Indian and the guy in Croatia or in Vienna or wherever, there are 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 intermediaries that don't add value to the basket, just price. So he ends up there costing a lot of money, and the Indian gets very small money for it. So if this could be made directly, and the internet permits that, because he can then mail it to him, but he can have, he can look and can meet the Indian through image, he can see him at work, can deal with him, and send him the money. It's going to be 10 times less than what he pays there in a boutique, and it's going to be 100 times more what the Indian normally would receive. I think there is a very important component in the open business, is the collapsing of the old model of business, of the consumer society. There is a very fast collapsing situation. A world that produces 3 times more food than it's needed to feed everybody, and half the population is starving and the other half is obese. And where the value beyond things is money. And we think that we will see in Brazil in a future that I don't know how many years, but this is my dream, the Ministry of Happiness being the ministry that organizes the other ministries, instead of being the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Money. Other values than money will be able to be in the center of decisions. And I think that the value that should be in the center of decision is happiness, because this is what everybody pursues at the end for his life and for the people they care. And this is not a complete metaphor. If you look at the experiments of Carnival in Brazil, Carnival is a transforming of misery into happiness. In Carnival, there is who makes Carnival in Brazil are the very, very, very poor, and then it's an explosion of happiness. Where do they draw this from? They draw this. There is no money involved in it. We have something to propose to the world, and I think that now we are beginning to see lots of people in the world interested in what we are doing here, in the sense of finding how to go about the big human crisis of the 21st century, in this crossover between the 20th and the 21st century.